welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday, February the 7th, and I said that I was going to go live today because I wanted to talk to you guys about something that we had discussed on Ready to Love, one of the reunions, and my husband and I were sitting and we were talking and with you guys, and we were talking about my situation with menopause. I was going through a lot of different, I guess, things with being honestly premenopausal and then menopause and going through full menopause. And I know when we were talking about it in the chat, like you guys had your stories and you seemed really, really interested about my journey, and you guys were sharing some of your journey. So I was like, hey, do you guys want me to make a video? And a lot of you did respond and said yes. Some of you commented on other videos that I had and was like, I can't wait for this, this live. And you just seemed very, very interested in the journey, and how my husband was so involved in my menopausal journey, and how, he kind of educated himself about it, because, this is something serious. And I want to say this is something that I don't think a lot of women really talk about. Like, they may mention it and they might speak of it, but in depth. And to have, like, I'm sure there's probably groups maybe that discuss it. I don't know, but this was something that was very dear to me, because I had a situation last August where I actually got a hysterectomy. So, but anyway, we're going to get right into it. But that's what this video is about. It's going to be my menopause and my hysterectomy journey. And I know a lot of you probably will watch the replay. So if so, thank you so much for watching this video. Comment down below and let me know what your journey is, and maybe put some information about, especially if I don't mention it, put some information that you may know that I don't talk about, to just kind of inform someone, or to just give them some insight about you and your journey, and maybe what you know in the comment section for someone that's going to come back and watch this as well. So let's just get right into it. All right, so where do I begin? This is different for me, and this is live. So I was like, maybe I should do it pre-recorded. And then I was like, no, because I really want you guys to be able to go in the comment section and share your story as well and ask questions, because I, have gone through it. I'm going through it. And who else to ask questions to someone that, is kind of going through it, instead of, kind of Googling it and, stuff like that. So this is like real life stuff. But so a little quick background about me. So with my menopausal situation, so let's rewind it even further. So growing up, I've always had very, 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 very heavy cycles. I remember being in the 6th grade, and I remember having to call my mom and tell her, like, can you come pick me up? My cramps are so bad. And I really enjoyed being in school. I did. But my cramps were so bad that, I had to call her in the 6th grade. Like, that's crazy for a little girl to have gone through that at that age. And I remember saying, I was in tears. I was like, can you come pick me up? And she picked me up, and she was like, does it hurt that bad? And I just was like, boo hoo, in tears. Like, me just sitting here thinking about it now is kind of making me a little emotional. And that's something that I've dealt with all my life. I've always had very, very heavy cycles. I've always, it was to the point where sometimes I would have to, like, double up on my sanitary napkins and everything, because, like, I just would, like, go through them. And let me tell you how expensive that is. And I would just go through them. And I know during, like, my first 3 days, I couldn't really travel to places. That was like where I was going to be, didn't have like access to a bathroom, or like it would affect like my job because I was in real estate, and it would be times when I would have to be in the office, but I would have to go out in the field. So I knew like if I was on my cycle for those days, I wouldn't schedule anything outside of the office because I needed to be close to the restroom. So, with that being said, fast forward in my early 30s, I remember I went and got an ultrasound because I was having like heavy cramping, and the doctor was like, you know, well, why don't you get, do birth control? That will help with it, et cetera, et cetera. So it was so much going on. And then it was to the point where it had become unbearable. And I was like, something's going on. Like, you guys need to check it. But I ended up getting an ultrasound, and they were like, oh, you have fibroids. And I was like, fibroids, what's that? I was like, is that like bad? So I had to educate myself on fibroids. But I had 3 fibroids, and that was like in my early 30s, and I was like, do I need to get them removed? Are they like cancerous? Like, what's going on? Like, I need more information. So I did educate myself on that, but I did have 3 fibroids. Now, moving forward, and they were like, that's why, your cycle has probably been bad. They're like, with women of color, a lot of us, we do get fibroids. And that's just something that, we deal with because of our makeup. And, and I didn't know. And like I said, I had to educate myself with that. But, so pretty much all my life, it's been really, really bad for me. Moving forward a little bit more, we're going to expedite this because like I could sit and talk about so much stuff in between these stories, but we're not going to, I don't even think I have that much time. Y'all probably would kick me off of YouTube. Hey, Blondie. Um, so moving forward, I want to say my mid 40s, it was to the point where my stomach had gotten so big. So I've always had like a little pooch, you know what I mean? I've always had like a little belly. And I remember I used to work out, work out, work out. Like, I remember I modeled for 10 years. I was a model, and I was very, very small. I was sample size. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but sample size is like a size 0, size 4, size 6, and size 8. And size 8 is kind of pushing it, but I was like a 6'8". And for those 10 years, I was really, really small. I was skinny, and I'm 5'10". So I was very, very skinny, but I always had like a little pooch. And I was like, what is that? What's that? So, after kind of doing my research, they were like, yeah, those are your fibroids. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't like that. So, make a long story even shorter, as time went on, I gained weight. And, after I had my daughter, I gained weight. And then, I stopped modeling. I wasn't a size 6 anymore. Um, I I guess I kind of stayed like a size 10, and that was a good, comfortable size for me. And I always still had my little pooch. Okay. The pooch never went away. I always had the little pooch, but I didn't realize until later on, like the severity of like fibroids and like how they can really affect your body. I learned a little bit about it, but I didn't really really get into it because this was years ago. This was before internet was even born. And of course, I asked the doctors, I did my homework, but as years go on, I'm kind of living with it. I didn't say, you know what, let me Google it until recently. So time goes on, moving forward. I am happy. Okay. I'm living my best life. I've gained a little bit more weight, honey. I got that good weight going on, but guess what? I like everything, became voluptuous. My husband loves it, but my stomach got even bigger. So I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm like, boom, 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 but now I'm like, boom. So in real life, my stomach was looking like it got to the point where my stomach was like, I looked like I was like 7 or 8 months pregnant. And he was, my husband would be like, you're not. And I, half the time, because it was to the point where I would wear like um fajas and girdles and everything. And no matter how much I worked out, no, it just, my stomach, it just wouldn't go down. And, and I just was like, something is wrong. So, not last year, but the year before that, I got another ultrasound, and they said that my three fibroids, I still only had three, but they said that my fibroids had gotten really, really big. So they said one was like the size of an apple. And I was just like, wow, okay. And they were like, that's one of the reasons why, your stomach is the way that it is. And I just was like, what? Like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, my stuff, like, I literally looked like I was like 8 months pregnant. And I was so self-conscious. I like didn't wear tight clothes. Everything I wore was baggy, just because, like, you know, it was to the point where I didn't want people to come up to me like, how far are you? Like, oh my God, congratulations. Like, that's how big I was. And I just, I became very self-conscious, and I just was like, I can't believe, like I'm really kind of like going through this. And, that's when I was like, I really need to look into this. On top of that, life be lifing. And, in 2021, and I'm going to talk about it. It's big. It's a big part of my life, and it's a big part of you guys' journey with me. After being on the show, in 2021, the show aired in September. My mom passed in December, and then my dad passed in August. So 8 months later, my dad passed in 2022. And during that time, and of course, after that, like, I had gotten like, a little emotional. I was going through some things. I had to deal with a lot of things with their passing and stuff like that. And of course, I don't know if you guys know, but the ones that have been following my journey know, after my mom passed, I was my dad's full-time caregiver. And that was real stressful. So I just had, like, a lot on my plate. And after my dad had passed, I was like, I really have to get it together. So I had to go on this mental journey for myself to bring me back into, like, the real world, to be able to cope, because, I was a single mom, and I have a little girl that I had to take care of. And I'm just like going through all these different emotions. We're going to speed up the story. So, when the whole fibroid situation happened, when I went to go check it, at that time I had met my soon-to-be husband, and he and I talked to him about it. And then, because I was happy in that relationship, and meeting him and getting to know him, I still felt like something was a little off. And then that's when I realized, and then I started to have hot flashes. And then, I started to, just go through things. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, am I still going through some things with my parents? Like, what is going on? Anyway, I'm like, maybe I'm going through menopause. I was like, I'm not going through menopause. What's going on? No. So yes, I pretty much self-diagnosed myself with premenopause. And then, of course, fast forward, end up talking to the doctor. They confirmed, yes, you're premenopausal. I was like, all right. So it's like, boom, 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 boom. So many different things, like, being on the show with my mom, my dad, then, meeting my husband, and then, becoming premenopausal. And then my fibroids went out of control even more. And so it was just like everything that I was just kind of dealing with. And I just was like, oh my God, like, is like, what? I don't even know what to do at this point. So, my husband started to notice some things about me. And I guess, when you're in your own skin, you don't really think about it. or you don't really like, it's like not in your face because you're you. So you don't realize like the things are really happening until it's like someone tells you, or, you know what I'm trying to say. Like you just, you're oblivious. So it was to the point where I was forgetting things. It was to the point where, um, so the number one thing, my memory was just really, really bad. I would forget, I would leave out the room and be like, why am I in the kitchen? Like, what did I come to get? I don't even remember. Um, I started to notice when I was at work, I would forget things, just forgetful. So now that's why I have my phone, because I use my calendar. And it's my husband when he was younger. In case y'all are like, who is that man? That young man on her phone. Um, so, and then to my hot flashes got worse. And then it would be to the point where I would be really, really cold. I'm talking about, I would be so cold. Like, is there a door open? Did I just go outside without a coat? Okay. Then I would notice it would be times when, I would get like really emotional. I'd be like, nobody loves me. Oh my God. Like, I don't want to be seen. Like, I'm fat and I'm ugly. And oh my God. And then I'd be like, I don't want anything to eat. And then I'm like, I want everything to eat. And then, like my daughter was getting on my nerves, but she really wasn't. I just was premenopausal. And then my daughter was getting on my nerves. And I was just like, God, like, why she don't love me either. So I was just going through a lot. Um, and also to like, it did definitely mess with my sex drive. So yeah, like before I ain't had no issues. I was, you know what I'm saying? Always trying to bounce on my husband. And then, it was just to the point where I was just like, yeah, like if I don't get, like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. If he good, I'm good. We're good. you know. So that's like kind of awkward for me to talk about, but I said I was going to be pretty transparent on here, but yeah, so I had that going on. I had yeah, like Google it. Google menopause and you'll see like all the things. So pretty much, I had frozen arm. The right side of my arm would feel numb, and it would happen. I remember when it first started to happen, I remember it would happen like every 5 minutes. Like it would be tingling, like to the point where it would tingle so much. Like when your leg falls asleep or your arm falls asleep or something, and then when it stops falling asleep, or you want to like shake it out, or you want to like beat it, and it kind of like hurts a little bit. So I dealt with that for about 6 months, 8 months, 6 to 8 months, where the tingling situation would happen like every 5 minutes. And I remember I was like, is this going to be my life? It was very painful. I didn't know what was going on with me. And then it subsided to where it wasn't every 5 minutes. It would happen like every 30 minutes. And then it would happen like every couple of hours. And then it would happen only like twice a day. And I would be like, thank you, God. And then a couple of weeks would go by and it wouldn't happen at all. But then I don't know what would trigger it, but it would happen again. I'd go through it again. And then every 5 minutes, every 15 minutes, and I just was like, what is going on? Like, do I need acupressure? Do I need acupuncture? Do I need to go? Like, I'm scared now at this point. So that's when my husband was like, let me look up some things. Like, let me see like what's really going on with my wife. And I remember he came to me and he was like, yeah, so if being on menopause, it's like 20 symptoms, you have like 19 of them. Insomnia is real. Literally, I'm in bed, like TV off, everything off, and I'm just laying there like, and I did it on purpose one day. I remember I cut the TV off because I was tired. I was exhausted. It was like 11 o'clock. He was already asleep. It was like 11 o'clock, and I said, I'm not going to cut the TV on, and I'm going to lay here and see how long it's just going to take me to go to sleep. I remember I didn't go to sleep until like 4:30. And I think at that point, it was just because I was just so exhausted. But literally, I laid there from 11 to 4, and I just could not sleep. Man, let me tell you, it's crazy to just hear, and it's like one thing to hear someone talking about it, like when I be watching people YouTube videos about, stuff like that, or when I talk to people, you never understand what it really is and how it is until the shoe is really on your foot. How people always tell you, and this happened to me in reference to like when, I had my daughter. You never really understand what it is to be a mom until you have worn that shoe. You really never understand what it means to be a wife until you wear that shoe. You never really understand certain things in life until you're actually living it, and I would hear about menopause, and, women be like, I went through menopause. It was one of the most horrible things. And I just be like, what? I remember when someone told me, when you turn 40, it's downhill. You're going to start feeling aches and pains, and you're going to go through this and you're going to go through that. And I thought like people was lying. And I'm like, oh, shit, they was telling the truth. And they was like, and when you get 50, they was like, oh, yeah, it's going to be like, you hear aches and pains now at 40, honey. When you get 50, you're going to have to like hold on to things. When you step on the steps, you're going to probably have to do it one step at a time. I mean, it was just, until that shoe is on your foot, you do not understand. And I'm here to tell you that the whole premenopausal thing was horrible to go through. All right, so I'm going to go into the chat. I do have a part 2 because now we're going to get ready to talk about my hysterectomy I had. But I'm going to go over to the chat because I see you guys sharing some stuff, so I definitely want to read it. And I'm not going to keep you guys all night. So Blondie says, I had a full hysterectomy in 2017 at the age of 47. I definitely think I made the correct decision. I wish I would have done it sooner. Blondie. We're going to get into my story, but I understand. Kathy says, I had challenges with fibroids and had surgery, and they came back. Yes. So because I know I'm not going to talk about this, but when I got my fibroids removed, that was one of the things that my doctor said. She was like, I could just remove your fibroids. You don't have to have a hysterectomy. She's like, but at your age, she's like, are you trying to have any more kids? I was like, yeah, not right now. I'm 50. Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't want, maybe like 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe so, like I would, but no, I'm good. And she's like, yeah, if I were you, I just go ahead and just do the whole shebang. She said, because when you do the hysterectomy, like if you just remove the fibroids, more or less, it's a possibility they can come back. But she's like, but if you get your fibroids removed and if you do a hysterectomy, there's pretty much less or no chance for them to come back. And also there's no chance for you to get ovarian cancer. She's like, that takes it out of the, equation. Like it's just not going to happen. And I was just like, you know what, that's probably my best bet. So I'm going to hope and pray that my fibroids don't come back. That would be crappy. But yeah, let us know, Kathy, like, are you going to have surgery again, or like what's going on? Because just to let you know, if you do get your fibroids removed, absolutely, then they can come back. And that's what I did not want to deal with anymore. I was like, take it all out. I was told that my stomach was the size of a woman who was 4 months pregnant. My doctor gave me a mini tummy tuck during my surgery, and I feel you. And that's why a lot of people don't understand, like, sometimes women, we do get surgery on our body because of situations like this. Like, you just never know, like, a woman or a person's journey. So it's like, kind of don't judge a book by its cover, or don't, automatically just assume, oh, like she got implants, or she got, like, you don't know what this person has gone through to maybe why she had to decide to get implants or why she decided to get a tummy tuck. Everybody has a story. You know what I'm saying? Blondie says the night sweats are the worst. Yes, it's happening to me right now, and I'm anemic. Okay, so to be anemic, to have anemia, and then child, I be going through it. Back to my roots says gonna have to catch a replay. I'm at work. All right, sounds good. Thank you for coming in. Back to my roots. I appreciate it. Hi, Auntie. I had frozen shoulder for weeks without a history. And when it was happening to me, I was like, am I the only? I was like, is this real? I was like, what's going on? Like, it's literally like, I would be like, oh, like, I can't, like, oh my God, I can't move. Like, oh God, I can't wait till it's over. I can't wait till it's over. And I just be like shaking like this, like, like something is wrong with me. Like, that's real stuff. Like, and it scared me. Patricia says, hey, thank you for talking about this. I blame the elders for not preparing us for this. Patricia, I always say, what do I say, guys? I wish I had a me growing up. Oh, guys, when I talk about stuff like that, like it'd be making me so emotional, especially now, because I might even cry on this live. I try not to, because usually when I start crying, people be like, oh, Lord, there she go again. Oh God. Auntie says, I've been fortunate. The worst symptoms I had was the sudden sweats. Oh, wow. You are blessed. Literally, when my husband was like, you got like 19 out of the 20, it was not like it was serious. Patricia says, OMG, that might be why I can't fall asleep at 2 a.m. and we'll wake up at 7 a.m. Honey, we'll wake up at 7 a.m. and be like, God, I'm tired, but I'm ready to start the day. Like, yeah, like, what we got? Like, let's move forward. Menopause is different for every woman. Absolutely. And it is. It is. Like, some women's story, like I've heard, they're like, yeah, I didn't have a bad menopause. Like, it was just good. I remember with my mom, when she was going through menopause, and I was like, Mom, are you going through? She was like, oh yeah, I still got it. I still go. I still have. I'm like, oh, like, what's, like, you good? She's like, oh yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. I good. I'm like, dang. Like, okay. So I'm thinking like it's good. But in real life, my mom, she didn't go to the doctor. She didn't, everything she thought was good, and she wasn't good. Okay. Because she ended up dying with stage 4 lung cancer, and she had 3 tumors in her brain. And guess what? She after she found out she was sick, went to the hospital. She was passed away 8 days later. You got to go to the doctor, guys. In real life, you got to go to the doctors. You got to get your mammograms. You got to get checked. I go to the doctor for everything. It was to the point where I was going to the doctor for everything, and my doctor was like, you back? I'm like, my ear was hurting. I don't know. It was like this lobe down here, and then it was a twitch right here. I just want you to check it out. Like, that's just where I'm at right now in my life. Like, yeah, you can't mess around with your health. And ever since that happened with my mom, that really showed me that I really need to take my health serious. When my husband eats one too many peppermints, I'd be like, yeah, that's a lot, babe. Like, you might need to slow it down a little bit. My daughter, when I'm like, what you eat for lunch? She's like, I ate chips. I'm like, what? Like, when was the last time you ate a vegetable? Like, no, tonight you're eating a salad. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to just do it. You know what I'm saying? You got to put yourself out there, and these are the people that, I love. So yeah, I have to have their best interest, because I do understand and realize like how serious it really is. And I think a lot of people don't realize how serious stuff like that is until it happens to you, until like someone close to you, they go through that. And then you really see like, oh shoot, like it's really real. And it can happen to anybody. It can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to just anyone. So it's like, you really do have to take the necessary precautions and steps to ensure your health, and that you live long for your family and for you, and to be able to enjoy this thing called life, because it's already short. Like, don't make it even more shorter than what it needs to be. You know what I'm saying? And just try to do the right things. Hi, I'm glad you're here. I'm here too. We all here together. Yolanda says, yeah, it is different for everybody. I have fibroids too, but they have shrunk since my very first. Oh, wow. Congratulations. That's amazing. That is amazing. Yeah. So I will say this. I remember before I got my surgery, because I was like, you know what? I don't want to get surgery. So I will tell you, I did go through and I Googled it and I said, how do you shrink fibroids without getting surgery? So I remember they were like, take vitamin D, take zinc, do this, do that, and yada, 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 yada. And guess what? My fibroids did shrink. They did. They were like, you can't eat fried foods, you can't eat food, you can't drink nothing, you can drink water, you can't drink too much water, you can't eat, and if you eat vegetables, you can't eat too much vegetables, and if you eat carrot, you're going to get gas, and and if you get gas, it's going to make you bloated, and then and try not to eat no sugar, and I was like, well, hell, I might as well be dead. Unalive me now. Like, what is going on? If I can't, like, that's no quality of life for me. You know what I'm saying? So, but I did those things just to see if it was going to work. I promise you. So for like 2 or 3 weeks, I cut back fried foods. I cut back sugar. I cut back carbs. I cut back, and I wasn't happy, but I did it because I was like, let me see if it could really happen. It could happen. And it did happen. It happened for me. I want to say I lost about 7 inches around my waist because I measured it, and I was very excited, but I was unhappy. I was like, I can't eat nothing but lettuce, carrots, and cucumbers forever. No, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I was like, I'm going to be mindful of what I intake, and I'm like, but I'm still, I want to live a decent quality of life and be able to enjoy my food, but still be mindful. So moving forward, I did that, and guess what? My stomach went back to normal, and I was actually eating like really healthy. It just wasn't, like I didn't eat fried foods every day, but I might, let's say, eat it once a week, or I might, eat a steak every now and then. They were like, no meat, no that. And I just was like, man, no, I was like, I can't. I was like, I can't. I'm a chocoholic. Oh my God. Girl, you got to watch out for that sugar, because that sugar ain't good either, girl. That sugar. Jojo says, hello, I'm sharing this with my friend. She's getting to have the surgery. I had it in 2015. Sex drive did plummet. The instant menopause was drastic. I did full hysterectomy for very reasons as me. Thank you, Jojo, for sharing your story. Thank you. Oh, wow. I try to keep my stress levels down. Then I get less hot flashes. Girl, I would be in here chilling, just watching a movie, and I'd be like, whoo, y'all, like, y'all, you get hot, babe? You hot? Like, no. I'm like, it's hot. We were doing a live not too long ago, and I remember I had this little fan on, and he was like, you hot? I was like, yeah, I'm hot. I'm like, you cold? He's like, I'm freezing. And I'm like, oh shoot, this little fan. That fan. And I showed it, and everybody was laughing at me in the chat. I was like, y'all, I'm hot. Once I got the hormonal patch, the night sweat stopped. Patches. Because I'm gonna look into them hormonal patches. I remember feeling like, Auntie Eva says, I remember feeling like an oven turned on full blast with the hot flashes. Right. And my hot flashes weren't just like flashes. I just was hot. Like, it felt like, for me, it felt like someone turned the oven on and left that joint on. And I just was in there just sitting like in a sauna. Like, it wasn't like flash. I was hot for a couple minutes and then it went away. No, I would just be hot for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Hence why when we were on the live for like an hour and a half, and I was hot the whole time. Like, hot, sweating. I'm talking about I had to go downstairs and take another shower because I was sweaty. I was, yes, simmering while I was doing the Ready to Love live with y'all. I was simmering, honey. My fibroids were like a sack of marbles. So you had little. Wow, I had big ones. I had one like this. I had like one like this. And then I had like one like that. Dang. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank y'all for real. Sabrina, have you heard of Black co-hosts for menopause? Have you heard of Black co-host for menopause? I've heard people talk about it, so I looked it up, and people talked about side effects like rashes. So I said, no thanks. Don't need, yeah, don't need something else. Yes, y'all know, like when they be talking about, do you do you have depression? If you take this, but the side effects are diarrhea, nausea, insomnia, rashes, heat flashes, eyesight might go, like hair loss. And it's just like, well, I'm gonna deal with my depression. I'm gonna go to church a little bit more. I'm gonna read some more books. I'm gonna talk to some. No, I'm not taking that. Like, what's going on? Like in real life, I feel like, and that's why I really do now, especially, I try to watch what I eat. I try to watch how I think. I really do try to be mindful of the things that are like around me and in my space, because I am huge on like self-medication, with like foods and like a positive mindset, stuff like that. I remember, years ago as I started this video, you know, I had to, kind of go through some things. And even before that, like I talk about how before the show, I was abstinent for 3 years. I had to figure out with this next chapter in my life, like how I wanted to move, how I wanted to live, how I wanted to be loved, and all those things mattered. And, and I said, I want to, change like my lifestyle. Like, I'm about to be 50. I was like, I'm going to change how I eat, how I speak, how I think, how just everything. Because I know that I feel like this world that we live in now, especially with social media too, it's just so tainted. I just feel like y'all gonna hear me get a little spiritual real quick. I just feel like it's so much evil in this world, and I feel like it's a lot of uh what is it? What are those people called that like just suck the life out of you? I just feel like it's so many devil workers out here now, like because the world is just being taken over with so much hatred and evil. And I just feel like that, the people that are left, that's like, no, they're just like, it's just attacking us. And I was feeling attacked, and I was like, I can't. So I need to figure out what I need to do to be able to fight those demons and to fight those negative thoughts and that negativity. I need to figure out what direction I need to go in to get me to a place where there's peace. And that journey took some time, to get there. I actually started it about 14 years ago. And it led me to where I am right now. And I thank myself every day that I took that journey, because, you know, where we are today now with this world, had I started it 3 years ago, I might not be where I am. Cause like I said, it took me 14 years to get here. So it's definitely a process. And I really pray to anyone that's watching this, and everyone that's watching this now, that, if you're going through some things, I really pray to you, and hope that you are able to find that peace, because I promise you it is there. You just have to be patient, and you have to trust and believe and love yourself so much to know that you will be able to find that place. I'm not religious. I am very, very spiritual. And I feel like that, as long as you believe that your footsteps are led by faith, and God will take you to the place where you need to go, and that higher spirit will guide you into that next chapter, dimension, place in your life. You just have to believe. Okay. All right. That's it. Because, honey, I will get into it, and then I'll just start talking and start sounding crazy, and y'all be like, oh, this is taking a turn. Sonia says, I had all symptoms, vertigo. Yes, honey, I had that. I had it right before I filmed Ready to Love. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, and that's when I lost all my weight. That's why I was so skinny on the show. I had all symptoms, vertigo, night sweats, etc. I attended this Black Women's Virtual Summit for free and learned so much so that I knew what conversations to have with my daughters and my doctors. That's why you have to educate yourselves, guys, because if you don't, you're going to go to your doctor and you're not going to have the right questions. You're not going to really understand certain things, because you can go to the doctor and guess what? And still be kind of confused and oblivious to what is really going on. You just have to educate yourself in all aspect, in all like different areas. Don't just go to one doctor. If you have to go and get a second opinion, then do that as well, please, because it's very, very important. If you have daughters, you have to talk to your daughters about these things. Like every chance I get, I talk to my daughter, because my mom didn't talk to me about any of these things. With my mom being Korean, with her culture, like I said, she didn't care too much about her health. You know what I mean? She didn't talk to me about any of these things. As a matter of fact, what was going on in her head, she was actually leading me the wrong way. She was saying things to me that, didn't make sense. To the point where I remember when I was a little girl, this story, I remember when I was a little girl, and when I started my cycle, and I remember I was probably like 11 or 12 years old. I remember my mom, I've never said this out loud too, but she would be like, when you're on your cycle, a woman shouldn't take a bath. And I just was like, you shouldn't? She was like, no. She was like, clean your areas down there. She was like, but you can't take a bath. I was like, oh, shoot. I remember I used to sneak and bathe myself. So, growing up, it was just really hard being, a child with a mother from a different country. And then my father wasn't really there, to kind of guide me. I didn't really have a relationship with my father. So it was just kind of hard for me growing up. And I remember that's why I was like, I'm ready to leave this place, honey. I was like, I got to get the hell out this house as I got older, because she and I would bump heads because I wouldn't, at 18, I didn't want to live how she wanted me to live. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And, I left. And I remember coming into hard times. I was probably like 22 or 23. I was gone for, some time, and I stayed with my friends, and I would, be back and forth and check on her. And I remember, I was like, Mom, like, can we just like work things out? I was like, I want to come home. I was like, but we have to really try to work on a relationship. And she just was like, no, you could stay out there. You could stay in the streets. I don't want you here, and neither does your father. Like, what? I said, fine. So I left, and I had to figure it out. All I had was my clothes and the car and my car. And I had to figure it out. And I did. And when I left, I never went back home until 14 years ago. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so it's definitely serious. You definitely have to educate your daughters, your sons, just everything, just about life. I see Northwest, which is Kanye West and Kim, Kardashian West, their daughter, she has piercings all on her hands. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And I was like, I commented, and I was like, I feel so sorry for her. So yes, thank you so much, Sonia, for your comment. But yeah, we definitely have to be there for our kids. We have to try to be, good parents to our children, because the stuff that they learning on social media and was out here in the street, It's not good nowadays. It's a problem. Yolanda says, yes, libido goes away, and I started young at 46 like a mom and still going through it at 60. Are you telling me you're still going through menopause at 60, Yolanda? Halle Berry, Auntie Eva says, Halle Berry spoke about her experience with menopause and how her doctor wasn't much help until she found a good one. Yes, facts. And I'm going to tell you a quick story just so you guys can understand the severity. I remember when my mom was in the hospital and she was laying in the bed. She was incoherent. She just was laying there. You know, she had the things in her mouth and she couldn't move. And they were like, yeah, you know, we ran tests. You know, everything is good. Your mom is good. You can take her home now. I said, it's just me and my daughter. She's like 9 at the time. I'm like, it's just her. Like, I can't, I'm like, mom, she's not even waking up. How am I going to get her home? They're like, yeah, you're going to have to figure it out. But she's good. We ran tests. Everything is good. She can go now. I said, she clearly does not look good. Something is wrong with this woman, and I'm not taking her out of here until you do more tests. Okay. Get another doctor in here. Something's wrong with this woman. Do you know they tried to kick my mom? Like, I literally was kicking and screaming. I was cussing the doctors out. I was cussing everybody out in the emergency room. I was like, I'm not leaving here until you do more tests. Okay. Like, I'm crying, I'm screaming, just yelling. People are looking at me like, dang. Anyway, I left the hospital. 24 hours later, they called me. I remember it was like 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then that's when they told me she had cancer. She had stage 4 cancer. She had 3 tumors in her brain. They were like, we did x-rays, whatever. And this is what we found. And I literally bust out in tears. And I was like, and y'all actually was going to have me take her out to hospital. And you told me everything. She was good. So please, if you have to get a second opinion, guys, if you have to kick, fuss, fight, yell, scream, and cry, then do what you have to do. Blondie says, with a full hysterectomy, you don't have to worry about cervical cancer nor ovarian. Yes, cervical or ovarian. You're absolutely right. My doctor also told me that the risk of getting breast cancer is low. I didn't understand that, but I was like, okay. And Blondie is absolutely right, guys. Absolutely right. Patricia says, I just had a hysterectomy September 2005. You just had it. So did I. Had mine in August. We're about to talk about it. I'm happy to no longer have a cycle, but I'm so fatigued. I can't figure out what it is. I forgot to mention that. Yes. I be tired all the time. I be tired. I will sleep 10 hours and wake up and be like, dang, I'm so tired. So tired. DC says, hi, Sabrina, such an important topic. Have you considered hormone replacement therapy? I have not. And that is something, and I'm so glad that I'm doing this live because I like to go back sometimes and read the chat because I'll be like, oh, I remember somebody said something. I need to go back. I need to Google it, or people will be like, I'll DM you the information. I'll be like, perfect. Like I'll DM you the recipe or whatever. And it's like, it's so helpful. And I remember saying that I love doing lives like this and videos like this, especially on YouTube. And when I do my vlogs, because I'm able to go back and say, instead of going through a photo album, I'm like, oh, I can go back to that video and that vlog and watch it and, and watch the memories. Like, absolutely. So hormone replacement therapy, I'm definitely going to check that out. Patricia said she be in the mood all the time and she don't like it. I don't know if how many women go through that, but that's a great thing, I'm sure, for your mate. I did hear sweet potatoes are supposed to help with menopause. That's something interesting. It's because of the sudden change in hormones. She's talking to Patricia. Utter wickedness. Or yeah. Is that chocoholic? Judy says, I'm glad you said abstinence instead of celibate. Yes, it is. It absolutely is. I was absolutely abstinent because I had to Google it. I was like, what am I? Patricia says, I figured it was the change in hormones, but I hear most women saying their sex drive decreases. Yes. So that's why I'm like shocked. That's tight though. Kindly hit the like button. Yes, so if you have enjoyed this live thus far, please absolutely give this video a thumbs up and push it so we could push this through the algorithm so people that need to know about this can find this video. Hey Ray Mel, how you been, girl? Hey girl, hey. I haven't seen you in forever. Oh my God. That's sad. I'm sorry. Oh, when I was talking about my story. Picture says my mom had already talked to me as a child about the moment my cycle would come. When it came, I was living with my grandmother and she didn't let me take baths either. Maybe it's not a Korean thing. Maybe it's a grandma thing or like an elder thing. Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, I'm curious now. I need to Google that. Raymel says, I'm still going through my menopause and I'll be 62. Auntie says that was insane. Take her home in that condition. Yes. They said she can go. Like they got an attitude with me. They were like, no, she needs to go. I'm like, look, she got insurance. She got Medicaid. Okay. She got insurance. Okay. she got my daddy insurance and he was in the military. Like, and also too, I don't know if you guys know, but the military really don't do that much for you when it's to the point when they're like on their, I guess, I don't want to say, like when it's closest to the end, they don't do nothing for you. And if it's a spouse, they really don't do nothing for you, period. So yeah, so being in the military, when you get old as a veteran, it sucks. Okay, they barely didn't want to help my father. They absolutely didn't want to help him. When he passed away, the only thing that they did was they said that we'll give his plot free. But of course, if I'm going to bury him, which I did not, I got him cremated because that was his wishes. They were like, you still have to pay for the casket. You still have to, I'm just like, they're like, yeah. And then when my mom passed, they were like, yeah. I was like, do you do anything for spouses? They were like, yeah, the only thing we do is give them a percentage off, like 20% off of the plot next to my dad. I was like, so literally they didn't do anything. Yeah. So when my dad was about to like go to hospice and stuff like that, they were like, yeah, no. They was like, he needs to be in hospice, but he wasn't there yet. He was, oh God. Child, woo. Tap those engagement buttons on the right. It pushes the videos out the algorithm. Thank you so much, Auntie. What the military depends on, if they get 100%, then they take care of everything. For my dad, they would have, but for my mom, they didn't do anything. And she was, the spouse, but they were like, yeah, but when it came to the hospitalization and stuff like that, they weren't trying to help him do anything. My father went to the veterans home in my area. He was a disabled veteran though. Yeah, my dad wasn't a disabled veteran. Like it was hard for me, and being the only child, like, whew, man, it was right after the show. Like I couldn't even enjoy like being on the show. You know what I mean? Like I know I would go live and stuff like that, but in real life, I couldn't enjoy it. Like my mom was in the hospital. I'm watching the show. I'm trying to be present, and it was hard. So moving forward, my hysterectomy journey. So when I went on my cruise, y'all need to check out that vlog. I'll link it here. Check out that vlog that my husband took me on for my 50th birthday. It was my very first cruise. So after my cruise, we got back on that Saturday. My hysterectomy was scheduled for that Monday. No, that Tuesday. It was scheduled for that Tuesday. It wasn't Monday because she started school that Monday and I did it the next day. So with my hysterectomy, I end up getting I got notes because I'm about to kind of give you some information about what I got to see if this might be right for you. I got the total laparoscopic hysterectomy, which is also called the TLH. It's a minimal invasive surgical procedure in which the uterus is removed using advanced laparoscopic keyhole techniques instead of a LARB abdominal cut, the surgeon makes a few small incisions through which a camera and surgical instruments are inserted. This allows precise removal of the uterus with minimal trauma in surrounding tissues. There's different types of laparoscopic hysterectomy. There's a total hysterectomy, a subtotal partial hysterectomy, a radical hysterectomy, and of course a total laparoscopic hysterectomy. So it says, and I am on medical, if you want to check out the website, it's medicoverhospitals.in. It says the surgery duration is 1 to 3 hours. You get general anesthesia. Hospital stay is 1 to 2 days. It takes 1 to 4 weeks recovery. I remember when I called the doctor's office to schedule my post-op, the lady I was talking to, she goes, she was like, oh, you just had a history. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm just scheduling my appointment. And she was like, yeah, girl, I had one and such and such and such and such and such and such. I said, how long was your, your healing? Like, how long did it take you to feel like kind of normal? She said, yeah, it took me about 6 to 8 months. I said, what? She said, the first couple of days, you're feeling a type of way. She said, Pat, next couple of weeks, she's like, you start to feel, decent or whatever. She says, but, for her to feel completely back to normal, it took her 6 to 8 months. And I just was like, am I going to have to go through that? So that Tuesday, I got laparoscopic hysterectomy. They took everything out, my cervix, my uterus, my everything. The only thing that they left were my ovaries. And my doctor was like, I left your ovaries. She's like, because with your ovaries, it still, gives you some estrogen and then you still kind of feel like a woman. She was like, I didn't want to remove like everything. And I was like, okay. And my doctor was such a great doctor. I was like, cool, I trusted her. And what they did was, I don't know if you guys saw that little picture that I had posted, but I don't want to get too much in detail. But I got about 6 small incisions. They were like this big, about 6 small incisions, and they go all the way across my belly. And that's how they remove the fibroids. And that's how they removed all my insides, my like uterus and stuff like that. After my surgery, I went into full-blown menopause. I didn't have a cycle anymore. I haven't had one. It's so amazing because my cycles were so bad. And if you guys like joined after that story, but you have to go back and watch the replay. But my cycles were so bad. I was so heavy. My cramping was so bad. And I literally was dealing with this since I was 10 years old, because that's the age that I was when I started my cycle. So to have it from 10 years old, a little girl, to 50 years old. And in August of last year, I went for my birthday. It was my 50th birthday that he took me on the cruise. And my birthday was August the 20th. And I got the surgery on that Tuesday. So it was like the 20, because we were on my birthday, it was like the 25th or something like that. I can't remember. But we did a week's cruise. And I think my birthday was on like that Tuesday or Wednesday. And then that next Tuesday is when I got it. But I did go into full-blown menopause. And the healing was when we would be in the car and he would hit the bumps, I'd be like, ooh. Like I would have to like hold my stomach in, like with my hands, I would have to like press it and like support it. So when we hit the bumps, it wouldn't be like the pressure, because it would feel weird, but it would not hurt, but it would just feel weird. So I couldn't laugh hard. I'd be like, don't make me laugh. I couldn't laugh hard. Sometimes when I sneezed, I would pee on myself a little bit. Yeah, so it's now February. I feel like it took me, I want to say, to feel like starting to feel like normal again. It took me about 8 weeks. It took me about 8 weeks. And now I feel pretty normal, but every now and then, like if I sneeze or if he hits a bump or something, because that's one thing, when you living in that soft life and when you got such an amazing husband. I don't drive. He doesn't let me drive unless I absolutely have to, because we're like taking cars somewhere and he's driving one. But I don't drive. I don't open no car doors. I don't open no restaurant doors. I don't open no doors. Okay. So, you know, um, he does all the driving, and it's times now like when he's kind of driving regular, but before he would have to go over like the bumps really really slow, but now it's like I'm starting to feel normal again. I'm glad that I did it. I wouldn't have changed anything about my journey. I'm glad that it kind of knocks out some of the cancers that I won't get because I got the full hysterectomy. Would I do it again? Absolutely, 10 times over and over again. I forgot who said it in the comments. They were like, I wish I had done it sooner. I wish I had done it sooner too. But in my head, I was like, but what if I want another baby? What if I like want to do this? Well, like, what if I don't want to have surgery? I just don't want to do it. And I'm so glad that they came out with the laparoscopic form to remove, everything for the hysterectomy, because back in the day, they didn't have that. They didn't have that kind of technology. So they would have to take a knife and literally cut you to take everything out. And now it's not like that. It's literally like a machine that's like, zzz, zzz. It's like a little laser that goes in and it's taking everything out. It's so amazing that they have this kind of technology. So for anyone that's out there that's watching this, I'm not saying get the surgery. I'm saying do whatever you feel is going to be right for you, because every woman is different. Everybody's body is different. How we heal is going to be different. It just everything, you know what I mean? So you have to make sure that, you educate yourself about this. Make sure if you're not happy with the first doctor that's telling you what he's telling you, please make sure you go and get a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh opinion if you have to. Okay. Don't put yourself in a box, the internet is here for us, definitely use it, Google it, and definitely also too, what helped me is watching what I ate. Okay. I eat a lot of vegetables. I don't eat too much fruit. I need to start, but I eat a lot of vegetables. I really try not to eat too much meat. I do try not to eat too much fried foods. I haven't been as good with my eating like the last few weeks because we've been on the go and we've been out of town and stuff, but I do want to get back into that. I really want to start exercising more. I feel like I have a duty to you guys, and I'm thinking of all this new content that I've been talking about that I want to do for my YouTube channel, and all those things that I just said I want to do with you, I want to bring to my YouTube channel. And I hope that if you haven't subscribed to my channel, that you do subscribe to my channel, and you look for those videos, because I want to like eat healthy with you guys. I want to help you eat healthy, with different recipes, and I want to like work out with you guys and talk about like what I did. And I want to buy a sauna for here so I can start doing stuff at home, and working out here and doing those kind of videos, and just being at peace, and just becoming more one with myself too, and just sharing that journey with you. It's so important, because I feel like I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose, and I feel like I am starting to fall into what my purpose is. Like I feel like I'm getting very very close, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of weird, but anyway, that's a whole nother story. So let me read some of these comments, because like I said, I don't want to keep you in I can't believe I've been on for like an hour. Blondie says, I've never heard of not taking a bath while you're on your cycle. Hey, my mama said it, somebody grandmama told her, like I don't know, like I want to Google it now. Like, is that something with different cultures? Did like back in the day, like is it like uh what do they say? Is it bad luck? Like, I mean, I just don't know. It's gonna keep you from like having babies when you get older. Like, what was it that our grandmama moms was like, while you're on your cycle, don't take a bath? I don't know, but I didn't like it. Okay. I didn't like it. I'm convinced that Virginia Hospice euthanized my daughter's father. Oh, wow. Monica, I'm so sorry. I feel I don't want to get too much into it, but I just feel like a lot of the stuff that they say is here for us, like these pills and medications, because pharmacy is, I don't want to get too deep into it, but pharmacy is a big, big, big money grab for not us, for them. And I feel like they want to keep us sick on purpose, but I'm not trying to get this video, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to, but anyway, yeah. So DC says, Sabrina, during menopause, your estrogen levels drop, which is what causes all of these symptoms. So until you replace your estrogen levels, you will continue to experience these symptoms. Oh, is that what you were talking about that hormone therapy? Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I'm going to look into that because I go through it. Now I kind of just live with it now. Like I try to take like my vitamins and stuff now. Like I take Meno. I started taking back like my vitamin D, like my zinc. I still take black seed oil, yeah, but I do try to eat my vitamins. Like I try to eat my skincare, like literally. This is 50, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, I say it when I be saying it, I be like playing with y'all. I be like, oh, in my videos, I be like, look at the skin, look at the glow. No, in real life, I'm scared to take these vitamins. I promise you, I'm scared. I be like, let me eat these carrots. Let me eat this lettuce. Let me eat this. I eat garlic like just raw. You can't eat too much garlic, guys, because that Allison will give you, and I did it one time. I ate a lot of garlic with a dish that I made, and that stuff made me so sick. If you eat too much garlic, that Allison will make you nauseous. I felt like I was going to throw up. I felt like I was going to get sick, but I eat ginger like it's going out of style, honey. I'll sit there and eat ginger like it's an apple. Okay. But it really is, like, it has a lot to do with your diet too. Yolanda says, yes, I am Sabrina, and there are people older in 70s going through it. So it sounds like about what you said. Everybody different. My mom started at 46 and was done at 50. Older sister, never. Oh my God. Oh my God. I don't know if I could be. That's crazy. Yolanda says, had anything, other two sisters still going through it in her late 60s. Y'all, I did not realize that menopause. Like, I remember when I was a little girl and not little, but a young woman, I heard that women go through menopause. I had no idea. I'm thinking when you turn like the age that you turn and start going through menopause, you go through it and then it ends like in a year or 6 months, or, it's going to come real quick and then it's going to go. I did not know like it can last this long until recently, until I didn't think it was true, but I guess it is. Jesus Christ. My grandmama told me, especially not wetting the bottom of your feet. Yes. I'm telling you, all I knew is when my mama said, don't, I was like, I'm not going to walk around funky. I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm going to wash myself. And that was just one of the things like my mom like told me. I just was like, I can't do it anymore. I'm glad you didn't respond while driving. Be safe, Patricia. Yes, please be safe. I had an awesome OBGYN. Yes. And not many people are fortunate. So absolutely. But I love you guys so much. I don't know if I hope that, I said everything. I hope that I have brought some insight. I hope that this was, educational and will bring some kind of something if not it just being informative or just some insight on, like what you might go through in the future, or if it doesn't inspire you to maybe change some of your habits or to you know, go to the doctor and get checked. Definitely. I don't know if I said, of course, I don't know if I said it, but I don't know if I said, please make sure you get your mammograms. Please make sure you get your annual reviews. It's so, so, so important. I remember before my mom passed, I told her, I was like, Mom, I asked her, I was like, when was the last time, you got your check, down there? She was like, oh, I know, do. I said, you know, do what? She said, I know how to everything. Okay. I was like, what is okay? I was like, you don't know that? She's like, I fine. I'm like, are you sure? Okay. Cause you like 65, you like 70. You need to go check. You just don't know, Mom. And I remember she went because I forced her. And she was like, I fine. I was like, okay. But yeah, so but with her passing like in 8 days, like, she was talking about how, she had a really, really bad headache. Like, oh my God, my head hurts, my head hurts. And then I tried to nurse her back to health for like 4 days. And I remember on the third day, I was like, look, if you're not better by the fourth day, I was like, I'm taking you to the emergency room. I couldn't even pick her up out of the bed. I couldn't even help her up to go and get herself ready. She would stand up and she fell back to the bed, and I remember I had to call the ambulance to come get her on the fourth day. That was on a Thursday. I remember on that Friday they had ran tests, and then that's when Friday night they were trying to get me to take her home. And then I remember Saturday morning they called me, and then that's when they said she had a stage 4 cancer, and within 8 days they put her on an IV for 1 day. She was on that IV. She was up and she was talking. She wasn't really right, but she was talking and she was sitting up in the bed. I was like, how you feel? She was like, I'm okay. I was like, yeah. I was like, no, you're not okay. And, the very next day when I went to go see her, from that day to 7 days later is when, or 6 days later, it was like she was in a coma. And I remember, I asked them, I said, they had everything hooked up to her. I was like, is she going to get better? They were like, no. They said, how you see her is how she's going to be. And I was like, how long does she have to live? They were like, a couple days, a week, 2 weeks, 2 months. They were like, we don't know. And I just was like, wow. And I said, but for the rest of her life that she's going to be alive, she's going to be like a vegetable. This is how she's going to be. And they were like, yeah. So anyway, please make sure y'all go get checked. It is so, so important. I hope that with my little side stories of me telling you what I had to go through, in my life with my parents and everything, I know, it's like it's relevant, but it's not. I talk about my mom, and that's because I want you guys to get a second opinion if you have to, because they wanted to take her out of the hospital. So all this stuff is kind of relevant. So I really hope that you understood like the direction of where this live was going and what I was just trying to convey to you guys. But anyway, other than that, I'm not going to hold you guys too much. Couple more comments. Living a healthy lifestyle, eating right is medical to the soul, period, point blank. I promise you. Like, I have my husband, I keep big old ginger roots. I promise. I can go down there and get it if you want me to. I'll show you the big one that I have now. I literally cut it every day, take like a big chunk of it and just sit there and just eat it. And then I would cut little pieces and I would give them to my husband, and he would eat his little piece. My daughter's just like, no, I have to put it in like a smoothie or something like that, or a juice when I juice. So, but it's very important. It's an important topic. We need to discuss it more often. DC says estrogen deficiency puts you at risk for osteoporosis, heart disease, and Alzheimer's. My mom had a full hysterectomy in her late 40s. She is 79 today and has late stage Alzheimer's. Excuse me. Wow. So having estrogen is important. So we need that. Okay. Thank you, DC. Monica, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Wow. like I don't think it really registered to me like we need it. You know what I mean? Like, oh, how's your family handling this? Golly, yes. Man, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, yeah, like our health is so important. And women our age, like, we really have to be mindful of these things. You know, we only get one life, guys. And once you hit 50, you know what I mean? Yeah, I didn't really understand when my grandmother told me I couldn't take baths while I was on my cycle, but my mom was pissed when she found out. Yeah, yeah. I drink ginger juice and lemon juice in water every day. I put lemons in my water every day. Like literally, guys, like I have my Stanleys that I carry around, and I keep lemons in the house. And I don't know if you guys saw like one of my little reels I did. Someone kind of went on me and was like, "You should never put your lemons in water." But there's this big jug I used to put them in, and I would clean them with baking soda. I would clean them with vinegar, clean them really, really good, because I would just cut the lemons up and I would put them in my water every day. Yeah. And they also, it has great benefits, like it helps you lose weight and all kinds of things. Like you can do like olive oil and lemon juice shots. Like it's so much stuff that I be doing. I take cloves in my tea in the mornings. I put slices of ginger, I put clove, I put turmeric. And shout out to Anissa from Brooklyn. She was like, "Girl, don't forget to put that black pepper in there so it'll activate the turmeric." And I was like, "Yeah, she right." I do that. I put honey in my tea, and I also put Beneful so I can stay regular, on top of the fact that I be eating my little vegetables and stuff. So I put that in my tea, and I do a teaspoon of coconut oil. So I drink that every morning, so yeah. Hello, Sabrina. Naomi says, "I've been a subscriber from the beginning. I'm a Caribbean girl. Soursop tea is very good." Yes. Try to get the leaf. Yes. Heals the body. You're absolutely right. I remember recently I went and got a real soursop. Let me tell y'all something. Healthy food is expensive. I'm like, why do they do this to us? You know why? Because they want to keep us on that medication. I ain't gonna talk too much. You know what I'm saying? They want us on that medication. I remember the first time I bought a soursop fruit, like a big soursop fruit. Do you know that thing? That thing cost me $50. I want to say it was probably from here to here. And it was a little smaller than this in width. That thing was $50. Soursop is absolutely good for you. The leaves are absolutely good for you. Absolutely. Definitely check into it, guys. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Naomi, for joining. But yes, absolutely right. Soursop is good for you. Nadia says, "Has anyone ever found out why fibroids are more prevalent in Black women?" Honey, you know what? I don't want to get too much into all that, but I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I have my theories. Blondie says, "I had my hysterectomy 9 years ago. The symptoms are definitely not as bad. I have insomnia every now and then and hot flashes at times." 9 years ago, guys. She had her hysterectomy 9 years ago, and she's still dealing with it. Whew, our body already makes estrogen, but when we go through menopause, pause of menstruation, it stops making it, thus creating havoc on our bodies. Hey, Danny. Wow. So it's exhausting. Oh, you sound like me, DC. I was the only child, and my dad had, he had diabetes and he had dementia. So it was hard. It was hard. I remember one time I was bathing my father, and because I did everything, like I changed his diapers, I fed him, I bathed him, I did everything. And, when, a person goes through dementia, it's like they have like child mentality. And I remember my dad took his feces out of his diaper and was And then he would take it sometimes, and like if it wasn't the hard kind, he would take his diaper down and literally just use the bathroom all over the floor. And then he would take it, play with it, and smear it on the walls. And that would be me cleaning it up, cleaning him up. And then guess what? I would have to go live at 8 o'clock for you guys. That's why I guess I live the way that I live, because you never know. Oh God, I'm about to get emotional. You never know what a person is going through. For real. It's serious out here. I think it's birth control. Blondie said you should check out Dr. John Gray's talk is on estrogen. He talks about it in reference to romantic relationships and how you can naturally increase estrogen. I'm going to definitely check into that, because that was one of the reasons why my doctor was like, you know, that's why she left my ovaries. But yeah, I feel like maybe that is something that I really do need to look into, the hormonal therapy, you know, building my estrogen back up. All those things, it's obviously sounding very, very important, especially because you guys have gone through it or you're going through it. So thank you so much for that information. I thank you guys for being here today, educating me as well. And hopefully anybody that's watching this video will be educated as well. Thank you so much, guys, man. I said I wasn't going to stay on here too long, but I am actually getting ready to head out. I'm going to put up this one last comment. I had a partial hysterectomy in November, and now I'm on estrogen patches. Best decision ever. Hey, it's done. I'm about to get me some estrogen patches, y'all. Look, I'll be making another video to get you the update on that. But anyway, I love you so much, guys. Please comment down below and let me know if it's anything that I missed. If anyone that's watching the replay that has any additional information that my chat or myself didn't disclose. I love you so much. Please like the video. And if you're new here, like I said, please definitely subscribe. I would love to have you over here on my soulmate family. Anyway, I will talk to you guys soon, and happy Saturday. All right, bye.